Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Health Talk. I am your host, Dr. Niru Prasad, with my background in pediatrics emergency medicine, affiliated with Henry Ford Health System, St. Joe, Oakland, and Beaumont. The theme of our health talk today is the challenges with education. Joining us today as our guest speaker is Mumtaz Haque. She is an educator, a principal, community leader, as well as civil rights leader, and she would like to talk about some of the issues that is being faced in the education system in general, and I'd like to welcome Mumtaz.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad.
Good morning, Mumtaz. And my God, you have been I could not even read the whole of your biodata and CV. You have been an educator, a principal, community leader, and what else? Civil rights leader, yeah. So our audience would like to know more about you.
Thank you. First off, thank you so much, Niruji, for inviting me to be part of this conversation. I'm truly honored, and it's a privilege. So I have been an educator, as you mentioned. I was started off as a substitute teacher in the public school systems here.
I remember all those days. We have been a long way ahead.
Yes, we have known each other for a long time.
We have known each other, yeah.
So going back, then I became a teacher, assistant principal, and then eventually I became a principal in our public school system here in Michigan. And in 2020, end of school year, I decided to do something beyond that. So now I'm an educational consultant, coaching and training the teachers, administrators, and on the same token, I provide cultural competency training to corporations. So and then, of course, I have been involved with so many nonprofit organizations, and I was I was the co-chair of Michigan Civil Rights Commission, which I feel very, very proud of because I was the first Asian commissioner on the Michigan Civil Rights Commission that was appointed.
Wow, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You have accomplished so much.
Thank you.
I'm very happy and privileged to have you on my show. So as an educator and a principal, what do you think are the most critical needs in our education system?
Oh my God, there are so many needs, so many critical areas, but I would like to highlight the shortage of teachers that we have.
Right.
Not only in Michigan,
all over
across the nation.
Right.
And then we have a shortage of mental health professionals, psychologists,
yes.
social workers, behavior therapists. All of these positions are vacant in most of the schools. And many of these schools are suffering, students are suffering, but they are not being provided the services because, well, we have a shortage. And
Exactly.
That's the most critical area. And funding, as you know, Michigan State funding Proposal A, and then Proposal A created charter schools, public charter schools, and a competition began between the public schools and the charter schools, and then so there is a shortage of funding also. So those are some of the very critical areas where we need attention.
And Mumtaz, being a pediatrician in pediatrics office, emergency medicine, family prayer, I can see it has affected our group of children.
Absolutely.
In every single way, like developmental, like in learning and all those, because of the shortage of the of the teachers and mental health services.
Absolutely.
So that is a big issue these days. You agree with me?
Absolutely,
A big
and especially
issue, yeah.
it was an issue earlier, prior to the COVID-19 and the pandemic, and then now it has gone so much
yeah.
deeper. It has really become a major issue in terms of mental health. Students have needs; they are not provided the services. So the students who are in the classroom, who are willing to, who are ready to learn, they're not able, because the teachers have to take care of those. The regular classroom teachers have to take care of those students.
Exactly.
So
they are not getting enough attention what they should be, and this is what we see, because as a pediatrics practice, we see the children of all different ages, assess their growth and development, their developmental and the mental issues also. But we don't have enough help to refer them, like to social service.
Right.
And so this is the whole issue. So you also served as a co-chair of Michigan Civil Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Tell us about that.
So as a commissioner first, when I started off as a commissioner of the Michigan Civil Rights Commission, we conducted various public hearings.
Okay.
The first one was the Flint water crisis hearing.
Right, yeah, that went on for some time. It lingered, yeah.
Yes, and there were three, in 2016, there were three public hearings that we conducted in the city of Flint.
Okay.
And we invited all the public officials, we invited the teachers, parents, students, religious leaders, to hear what it meant and what the effect of that crisis was.
Right.
And it was really heartbreaking to hear from the public and about the diseases and the crisis that
so
this water.
many diseases.
Yes. So based on that, and then we realized also based on the hearings that there was a racial discrimination involved in that too, because most of the racial and mostly African American children in Flint, right, and then also underprivileged community,
right, yeah.
And so there was a crisis because attention was not paid to their crisis when they were really in need of crisis.
Right.
So based on that, we realized that our education system, we need to explore and we need to find out what the challenges in our school system, especially in Michigan, are. So we conducted the education equity in Michigan, and we started off with Ypsilanti Community Schools because they had a lot of challenges. Then we went to Traverse City, where immigrant students are, and then a lot of urban students facing issues. And then we went to Grand Rapids. Then we went to Detroit, and then Clinton Township. So we covered those areas where there were challenges in the school system. And what we found was that there was a shortage of teachers, funding, racial discrimination, lack of diversity among the staff. There is a whole report published, and it's on the Michigan Department of Civil Rights website that you can go and read. The whole PDF is posted.
I saw all those things that you had mentioned, the websites and everything. Yeah,
Right.
So that was good, at least. The whole, you guys visited all the areas where there were help needed, right?
Absolutely.
That is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And I remember during the Flint crisis, see those young kids, they had, you remember the bottle feeding and all those things?
Yeah.
The bottles were not clean and all those. We went through all those, So you also... So education equity in Michigan, would you like to comment on that?
There is a lack of services that are provided in the underprivileged areas where the school districts are, especially Detroit, Ypsilanti, Traverse City, Grand Rapids, many schools on the east side, Macomb County schools. There are so many needy children. And because of the pandemic, there is more shortage of services. Students have more issues because they stayed at home, and then they are lacking in their education as well. The level of achievement has gone down, but the state holds all districts the same way in terms of student success on MSTEP.
Exactly.
The standardized tests, but we have to really look at the conditions of each school district and what kind of students, what kind of parents, the challenges they are facing, the families are facing, and then we have to provide accordingly the funding, the resources for mental health, for special education students. What I noticed was, my experience is that special education students have very different needs.
Exactly.
Right?
Especially.
They are grouped in, there's only one special education teacher in most schools. Only one.
Okay.
And then
they need more than one teacher, because, right now I'm working with the autism, autism is spectrum disorder.
Right.
Because I'm involved in providing fund to some autistic children back in my country. So while looking at it, one teacher, each student, right?
Yeah.
Because you cannot just one teacher and then coach all of them.
Yeah, even if,
developmental behavior and all those.
Exactly. So one teacher serves in Michigan. We have the ratio is 600 and some students, above 600 to one teacher. 600 students are seen by one teacher, one social.
How can she handle? How can she handle?
It's really a most critical area that we need to look at. Also providing more funding to those underprivileged area school districts. And then teacher pay. Teachers are paid such a small amount of salary. They are so dedicated, most of the teachers, I'm speaking of, they are very dedicated. They spend time at home. I, being a teacher myself, I know that how much time I spent at home beyond school hours to prepare for my teaching.
Just correcting all the papers and everything.
So providing more, raising the salary. I would also say that students in those areas, minority areas like Detroit and Ypsilanti, they have to have, and everywhere, they need diversity among the staff also.
You are right. Diversity has a big issue nowadays.
Exactly. So that students, when they see someone like them, then they can relate, or they can say, I can be a teacher too. I can be somebody, like the person. So I think it's
diversity has a lot to do. Education system, and the COVID was no help at all.
It made things really worse.
Made things even worse,
Yes, absolutely.
So then, what do you think can be done to improve?
Well,
support our education system, for the nation,
Yeah, we have to really connect with the parents, and parents have a responsibility too.
Of course, it's a big cycle.
Exactly.
Parents, children, school.
So parents have to be, and now have to be more responsible as well. But our education system is the first place to start with, because
Exactly.
we have to pay teachers, so more teachers could want to be in the school system. Students have to be more absenteeism. Also is a huge problem.
I was going to ask you about
Yes.
the kids not going to school.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's another very
Because they are scared to go. They know that when you reach a school, it's not going to be.
yeah.
They want easy way of life, right?
Right. And another problem with some parents not sending schools or students not attending school is because there's a shortage of daycare.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I should have meant.
Yeah. So that's another, because many daycare institutes have have closed down because of the pandemic and all of that.
Yeah.
So there's a shortage of daycare schools, and so it's a vicious cycle, and we really need to pay attention to all these areas.
Exactly.
Right.
I agree with you. Every single area needs, So this is an educator. This is what you think. How to improve the whole system, right? And everybody is doing their great, but lack of funding is a big issue.
Yes.
Not getting grant from the government, right?
Yeah. Actually, last year there was a 77 billion funds allocated not for education but for the entire state of Michigan, and a big amount will go towards education as well.
Right.
I hope that school system, and there is an accountability in terms of where the money goes for the services for students.
That is true.
Exactly.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, every year, American Academy of Pediatrics, they report how much money has been granted and how much more they want, to improve this whole education system.
Yeah.
So you were a TV host for educational show, PBS. I remember back at that time,
Diddle
I watched, PBS.
Yes,
tell
PBS
us. And I
Channel
remember,
56.
I think one time I attended that, and they are all in big VHS.
Yeah.
I still have the VHS.
90s, from the 90s. I used to produce.
VHS. I haven't thrown any. I'm just saving all. So tell us about the PBS.
Okay, so the Diddle Doors, Dr. Lynn Boyle used to be the producer.
Yeah, I know.
She passed away. She was a gem. She was a gem. Oh my God, she was my mentor. She was. She's the one who brought me into PBS and Diddle Doors. I was a board member of the International Institute of Metropolitan Detroit, and later became the president of that organization, board of directors. And Dr. Lynn Boyle, she just brought me and she said, "Oh, you will be a great." And I was a teacher at that time.
Yeah, you were a teacher.
No, you have to do this. You will be great. So we started. I started hosting. I'll bring a group and different topics. I will create. Topics, educational topics. That show was for preschool through third grade.
Right? Okay.
Preschool through third grade students.
Right. Okay.
Yes. So we brought all kinds of topics that will really be very interesting to the students, early school students. And so animals and nature and you name it.
Visual diagnosis and also, stimulate their brain stem.
Right.
That was the whole idea of the PBS show, right?
So it was, and later I produced and hosted Diddle Doors also. And but then I became so busy with my school teaching.
I know, you're a busy person. You are, and then tell us about your radio talk show. And I remember I was one of the guests at your show. Yes.
Yeah, you
and me, we started at show the same time at WPM 1460.
Oh, really?
I was endorsed by Dr. Artinian. I don't know if you know him, cardiologist.
Okay.
He retired and he asked me, Dr. Prasad, do you want to take my show? I said, sure. So we used to do this radio talk. So mine was just the health talk, but yours were other.
Yeah. So I started my
tell me
radio.
about your show.
Yeah, sure. So I started my radio show. It's called Entertainment, Manoranjan.
Manoranjan. Yeah, I love to hear that. Yeah, Manoranjan.
So in 1995.
Okay.
I spent 28 years now.
Yeah.
And it airs every Sunday morning, 9 to 11 a.m. on WPON 1460 a.m. It also airs on the internet, iTunes. You can go iTunes. You can listen to the show. And the show features Bollywood music, of course, classic, old, and the latest music.
Yeah.
But the most important thing, my vision was to really educate the community.
Exactly.
And bring up the topics that really the public, the community can benefit from.
Sure.
And they should be knowledgeable of the things. So I brought all the department heads from the Department of Civil Rights, the Department of Immigration Services, the Department of Health. In fact, I provided cultural competency training to Michigan Department of Health.
Oh.
Yeah. So I brought all those department heads, education specialists, and experts in psychology. You as a health expert, and Dr. Prasad, your uncle, Dr. Prasad.
He was the India League.
Yes. So so there are a lot of educational topics based on the latest research findings.
Right.
Yeah.
Latest research.
Findings. So those are the topics that I cover along with music, because people enjoy the music, but in between they have to have that information.
Yeah.
Because it's beneficial for everyone. People need to know the latest legislation that passed.
Yeah, the legislation.
The laws that govern our life and what we should be doing. Well, I remember, and I'm sure you remember, that in the 90s, early 90s, people really, our community, South Asian, very small, and they did not know voting was so important.
Exactly.
So I started on voting. We have to vote. We have to vote, and we have
express your whatever your opinion, and
that's a civic duty.
Yes.
You have to perform as a citizen.
Right.
We have the right and we have the civic duty to perform. So those are the things that I've been trying to do with my radio show.
Yeah, and we love your radio show because I listen to the music and so you are doing many things with your shows. You are you are entertaining us as well. You're talking more about the legislation, about the funding, how to improve the education.
That's at the bottom of it's so deep rooted in me.
Of course,
our education, children deserve. Every single child deserves a good education.
I agree with you.
Regardless
I'm
of
working on those
race, culture, religion. Every child deserves.
Right, yeah. So, it is good, because they are the one who are going to fall.
They're the future.
They are our future.
Yeah.
And
country.
They have, they used to have those motivational lectures, and I was a keynote speaker, and one of them several years ago at Country Day School. And at the end of my talk, just one middle schooler comes and said, Dr. Prasad, when I graduate, can I invite you? And I looked at her, I said, oh my God, she's a middle schooler. Will I be around?
You will be around.
No, so I said,
you're doing well.
Yeah, so now they don't have all those motivational lectures, and I don't know, for some reason, now it has disappeared. I tried so hard with the education system, but I'm not just reaching the exact person.
Exactly.
That is the whole.
Yeah.
So what would you say the last 1 minute keynote advice for our viewers who are watching me today?
I would like to say to my viewers that every child deserves the best of education.
Exactly.
Our civil rights, the federal law, and our state law very explicitly says that all children must be provided with the right education, equal education.
Exactly.
And there's a difference between equal education, equity in education. Students who need more in terms of services, they need to be. So parents have to really be part of this education system too. Many parents have to be more involved. I would encourage the parents to be more involved and see what their child is doing in school. Provide support to schools also, because schools also need teachers need support, principals need support. So it's a community.
Parents have to
effort.
get involved.
Exactly.
I agree with you. Parents needs to get involved. Yeah.
Right.
So I have written a lot of articles, workup on meeting the challenges for the students, how to achieve good grade, meeting the challenges for college. And now I'm lucky to have you as an educator overall, watching all those things together. So anyway, I like to thank you sincerely for coming to my show. And you have been a good speaker, and then I'm so proud of all your achievement, and I'm also proud to be your friend for a long time.
Likewise.
Right.
It's an honor
I'm very proud to be
sitting
with
next to you and speaking with you, having this very, very important conversation with you. So thank you for inviting me.
I like to thank our viewers for watching me today on Health Talk, and the title was Challenges with Education with our guest speaker Mumtaz, and she has provided a lot of information about the education system, how to improve children, achieve good grades at school, at the colleges. Until I see you guys again, have a very safe fall. I like to thank our producer and our camera crews for helping me prepare this show. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Prasad.